Good afternoon, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here. We had another episode of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and of course, that means another two average guys recap show with my best friend Michael Cologne. So we're going to keep doing these. You're going to keep seeing us, and we're going to keep talking and giving our opinions. We are in no way professional critics. We're just two guys that like stuff. So that's what we're going to do on a weekly basis. We're going to keep this going. And so, Mike, how's the week been treating you?
Pretty good. Tired.
Yeah, yeah. I know, right? With the amount you and I work, it's rough not to be tired.
I know, right?
So, at the end of the episode last week, it left us with the cliffhanger of John Walker as the new Captain America, and they actually gave you that really weird angle with him looking like the old guy from Up in a Captain America helmet.
Yeah.
But then they're trying to make you, I think last week was create a little bit of controversy and make you feel like you shouldn't like him.
Yeah.
What I really liked is how episode 2 began when you saw he's just a guy trying to do the right thing, and he's nervous about taking over this mantle. And he's not actually a bad guy. He's fallen into this role, and it's going to have to be something he adjusts to. But he's taking it seriously, and he knows all eyes are on him, and he knows he's going to be constantly judged for what he's doing.
Yeah, I like that. I like how he was like having that reflecting moment, trying to like figure out how to speak as Captain America. What is he gonna do? The nervousness of everything. He didn't seem arrogant going into it. He seemed like a generally good guy taking over for someone who's like his idol.
Exactly. And I think that was the strength at the beginning of that episode when they had the parade and they had the interview, and this was all taking place after his announcement. And I thought it was good. Right in the interview, he says he's just a guy with a lot of guts. He doesn't have any superpowers. He just has guts.
Yeah.
And he's got bravery. And then, of course, you had the introduction of his buddy, Hoskins. Lamar Hoskins, who is a Battlestar, who also in the comics became like the second Bucky. So you got an introduction of another new character who becomes kind of a sidekick. And so you got kind of like a Falcon and Winter, like a Captain America and Falcon team dynamic going with those two, but on a smaller scale. They feel suitably smaller than the other two guys, but they also feel like just two guys trying to do right by their country and by America and by the nation, which I thought was cool because they're not who you want in those roles, but it doesn't make them bad people.
Exactly. They're just two like normal guys who's just taking up the mantle and trying to do the right thing.
Right, and I thought they played that really well.
Yes.
And it was bugging me because I'm like, I know this dude playing John Walker. I know him. Who is he? And it's just because his haircut was so different. But that's Wyatt Russell. So that's Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's son. But
really?
What I remember him from, what I thought he was really good in, was that horror movie Overlord, where he was their leader.
Oh my God! Yes, that is him.
Right.
Good movie, by the way.
It was. Overlord was a great movie, and it was bugging me that I couldn't place him for a minute. And then I was like, oh, yes, the guy from Overlord. Chip, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you in here.
Hey, quick thing about the parade. Did you notice they were playing the Star Spangled Man with the Flan song?
With the what song?
And during the parade, they were playing the song from the original Captain America movie.
Oh, you know what? I did not notice that. That's a great observation.
That was one of my favorite things about the Captain America movie. Like when they were playing it as a band, I was like, hey, that's the song, the Star Spangled Man.
Well, I was sitting there so focused on trying to catch things in the background that I didn't even pay attention to the audio cue. That's awesome.
You know me, music is my thing.
Right? But yeah. But like to recap, no, that was great. So you got these two average guys coming in being like the new Cap and Falcon dynamic, who are definitely on a much smaller scale. But no less noble for what they're trying to do. And then I like that it switches to the living room, and Bucky's just sitting there, and he's completely aghast. He's got all this inner turmoil just watching Cap's shield up there with another guy wielding it. And they did a little bit of setup, like he was training. I thought the training was a little off because there's no way he'd be throwing it that hard. He's not a super soldier. He wouldn't be throwing it like Cap was.
Yeah,
So I thought that was a bit off
yeah,
because
him
he
throwing that
even
shield
says
at
he
the
doesn't
dummies.
have
Yeah,
super strength, right?
yeah. When he threw the shield at the dummies and they were flying, shield was flying back to him. I'm like, whoa, that's a little superhuman right there.
I thought so too. And there was a great shield moment later, which we'll get to. So it goes to them. Then you see Sam Wilson. Then you see Bucky approaching Sam, and those two, their dynamic is just great. The way Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan play off each other, the way they bicker, like an odd couple, is just hilarious. They're always going to have each other's back, but there's something about them that doesn't get along either. One, they both have way too much pride. Two, they're both way too hurt by the loss of Cap still to deal with it correctly.
Yeah,
And just so many great zingers. With Bucky, with him always referring to Bucky as you're doing that staring thing again. And just really, really great stuff. Him commenting, I don't trust Red Wing. You don't have to trust Red Wing. He's mine. Just they are great. And also I thought the big three was funny. Androids, aliens, and wizards. And you had that great line by
Gandalf and the
Bucky.
Hobbit.
Yep, I read it. I read it when it came out in 1937, which I thought was great. But
Yeah,
I don't know. Did that scene work for you too?
Their chemistry on screen is amazing. You would think that they've been doing it for way longer than just
Right.
like the two movies they really had shared screen time with, and this show starting off. So them two together, I really like.
I love them, man. That's I think one of the strengths to Marvel's casting and to what they're doing in the MCU is their casting is almost always knocking it out of the park. They know how to pair personalities together. I think the only place where people might disagree with that was with the casting of Brie Larson and how she got along with some of the people, and some of the people didn't care for that. But I think that was kind of they had that, and then some people were mad at the Natalie Portman casting as Jane Foster, which I think they'll get over as soon as she's in the next Thor movie.
I didn't
But
know people didn't like.
overall, yeah, but well, you know how the community is. They got to have something to not be happy about. But overall, I think Marvel does a great job of casting these people and just making them likable.
Yeah,
And especially, you know what threw me off with with Wyatt Russell as John Walker was just he's a great actor, and he was playing such a different role from like this hard ass military guy he was in that horror movie Overlord.
yeah,
And so it threw me off. I had to go back and actually remember he was the main guy in that, because he was, even though he was fighting for our side in that movie, he was kind of an unlikable character. And in this one, he's a likable character who you're supposed to dislike a little bit. So, and he has a little bit of the arrogance, but it's the same arrogance that all the other heroes have. It's the same arrogance like a professional sports athlete has. They need to have it to do their job. They need to feel like they need to believe that when they go out there, they're going to be the best. That's what's going to keep them going. That's what's going to make them excel. So you got Bucky confronting Sam Wilson. I'm going with you. No, you're not. Cut to the plane. They're both in the plane. Bucky's staring again. Sam's commenting back to him, and well, Cap calls you Buck. How come I can't call you Buck? And, you gave up the shield, and all that stuff. So I got to know. So their whole relationship was working as well for you as it was for me in every one of their scenes, right?
yeah. They seem like an old married couple, just bickering about everything that life presents to them.
Right, and then you get the great scene with Bucky asking for a parachute and jumping out. I don't need it anyway. Which that jump was hilarious because he's just gonna fall when he lands. He's just like, oh. And then you got Sam Wilson like, I got all that on camera. Just great bickering back and forth and great camaraderie. Two guys just picking on each other. Slide it up, 503. How you doing? Comics on my mind. What's going on? Guys, we were about 5 minutes into talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode 2. For Angie and Vigilante, how you doing, Thorson, buddy? All right, so that's basically our first 15 minutes, right? You had that great introduction, letting you the down-to-earthness of the new Cap, John Walker, and Battlestar. And then Bucky and Falcon getting their bickering over, then going on the mission. So they head north, they go into that base, and that's where they run into some problems. They see the other guys there. Not watching the show, but I'm watching it. That's the important part, Thorson. You got it right. Because I thought I was getting a PVT show. A private show, right? No, chap, you gotta tip a little better to get a private show, buddy. Then we'll get the man thongs out.
They don't want to see that,
right? Well, that's more money to pay us to put clothes back on. You got to have a plan. So they're in this base. They see the Flag Smashers there, and they're scanning it with Red Wing, and you see the that there's 5 people there, and one of them looks like a hostage. So it's kind of a setup already. And I really like that they kicked the Winter Soldier into high gear. Like you saw him just like cruise past that one truck with his super speed running, and then boom, right in. And that's the thing with this budget. They have not at all made anything look cheap. It all looks fantastic. It all looks real. When he ran past that truck, it was amazing. Just right in the back. He sees who's supposed to be a victim, and it turns out she's another super soldier with the Flag Smashers and one of the leaders of that little sect.
Yeah.
And she just proceeds to kick Bucky's ass all over the place. And which led us to a great fight on top of those two moving trailers with the Flag Smashers, with Falcon, with Bucky, and them finding out that these guys are actually super serum soldiers. And they still haven't told you where they come from. That comes a little later in the episode, and we'll touch on that after. But how did that fight scene before the new Cap, John Walker, came on scene? How was that working for you?
Oh man, I like watching Bucky fight. What you said about how everything looks really good. It was a little weird though, watching the Falcon, the way he was moving around. It seemed a little unnatural. It looked great, but there was just some movement that didn't look natural to me. But other than that, everything was great. I
loved it.
Yeah, you know me, like when I watch things, I nitpick every little thing about things. I'm just like that. But it was great.
Get that at 1K and we'll make it rain. I'm trying, Comics on my mind. It's a slow battle, buddy.
Yeah, but
I've been doing it less than a year, so I'm almost halfway there.
Seeing Bucky get manhandled by that Flag Smasher was pretty good. It reminded me of him being manhandled by Spider-Man.
Oh, right, and he was getting it handed to him pretty good. But
yeah, I think he take things too light.
Defeating him, but he wasn't expecting it.
Yeah,
and Bucky could take more of a beating than Falcon can because he's a super soldier himself.
Yeah.
I thought, and then you had the great introduction when you just see the Shield come in and start smashing people, and you see John Walker jump down, and you see Battlestar come in, swing in. The only issues I have with that is like you and I were spotlighting on. So most of those people up there were super soldiers, and it kind of seemed like John Walker was fighting like a super soldier, but he's only human.
See, and that's what caught me off guard because I thought he was a super soldier.
Right. No, he even says in the beginning he doesn't have augmented strength; he just has guts.
I don't know. I think he's lying.
But that was fantastic. He was definitely getting smashed. I thought he should have felt the blows a little more than he was feeling them, not
Yeah.
being a superhuman. He wasn't as armored up as, say, Falcon is with
Yeah.
his tech. But overall, the fight scene was good. I like the way he was using the shield, but again, I thought he was throwing the shield a little too hard for someone that's just a human and not augmented.
What
Still
did you
thought it
think?
was great.
What did you think about when Bucky caught the shield?
I was getting to that. That was a fantastic moment where, and then he just flings it back to him. It was great. Bucky, and you could see it in Bucky's eyes, like, I might keep this. And the save
Bucky
by
looked
Falcon was
annoyed.
great when he swept under and he took Bucky and they rolled, which just leads to more comedy by those two. Get off me. There's such an uneasy alliance between those two, but underneath, man, you know they're going to be the best friends. So then we go on, we have that scene, and then you have them, after everyone gets their butt whooped by the Flag Smashers, you had that uneasy that Jeep ride, right? And which was great. It was setting up more character moments. It was. Thank you, comics. Perfect. And it was setting up more character interactions between the old team and the new team. And the new team, they're trying to prove themselves. And it had another great speech by John Walker. He's like, I'm not trying to be him. I'm just trying to be the best Cap I can be.
Yeah.
Which is more cementing that this is just a good guy. He's thrust in this position, which is kind of a no-win position for him. Because no one's going to be Steve Rogers. It's the same reason that Sam Wilson didn't want to take the shield. Steve isn't replaceable. And that's why when Sam Wilson in the comics took over as Captain America, it worked because he was a different kind of Captain America. He was a Falcon and a Captain America. He was his own type of Cap. And that's kind of what they're trying to make John Walker be, but the similarities right now are too simple. You went out, you got another guy with a blonde haircut and another Captain America suit, which is almost exactly the same except for the front. I do think the new design's kind of nice, and it's got hints of U.S. agent on it, which is what he eventually becomes. And I thought it was perfect from Bucky. He goes, "What's your name?" And he says, "Battlestar." He goes, "Stop the car." he was done right there. What did you think of that interaction?
Oh man, it was. You could tell that Bucky didn't want no part of it, and it's like, you got John Walker who's being very sincere, and then you got his partner just sitting next to him, just like you could tell, like he just wanted to be like goofy with it. And then you got Sam just like, I don't want you being Captain America. So it's like pretty much the older crew not accepting the newer crew.
Right, and you saw John Walker starting to win Sam over a little bit with him saying, I just want to be the best Cap I can be. But then he says that stupid last line, like, my sidekick, my wingman, basically.
Yeah.
He said wingman, but it came across as my sidekick.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Sam had that great line. It's always that last line, and then he takes off too. And it's great because those Sam and Bucky aren't second fiddles, man. They're both great heroes.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be playing second to either one of those guys for sure, especially with what they've already been through in the MCU.
Yeah, and I don't think Cap ever looked at Falcon as a sidekick, and I think that's what made him mad.
Well, that's part of the reason that Cap's irreplaceable, right?
Yeah.
He's a natural-born leader, and he doesn't treat anybody with any less value. And this guy's not there yet. And it's like Comics on My Mindset. He got cocky. He did get cocky. And, and you're speaking to two guys that could whoop both their asses in a second if they really felt like they needed to.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that either one of those guys would hold up against Sam or Bucky. Hey, Azores, Comic-Con, Con Jelly, how you doing? All right, so now they're walking, and Sam's like, I got someone you got to meet. So we had the great fight on the trailers. And then you go to where the Flag Smashers, they believe they're doing right. They meet these people. These people are calling them freedom fighters. And they're fighting to have it the way things were before the snap got reversed and a bunch of people came back. The world keeps changing. They want it one way. They don't agree with how it is now, and they believe they're fighting on the side of right. And that's good character development. Yes, I agree as always. It's been great. The action has been MCU cinema quality for sure. But then you get that ominous message that she gets. You took what was mine, and we're coming to kill you all, whatever the last part of that message said. So they're kind of setting them up. So you got bad guys against bad guys, good guys against good guys that are against the other good guys, against bad guys that are against the other bad. And you're setting up all these dichotomies to go up against each other in future episodes. And then, you get the meeting with the old guy that Bucky used to know, and Bucky ends up getting arrested. They had that kind of forced scene with the cops, which I thought felt really shoehorned in by Marvel. I think that was the only part of the episode that didn't feel real. It felt like Marvel was trying too hard to be PC, but not getting it right. And so I thought that was a little bit shoehorned. Sith, what's up, buddy?
It all happened too fast right there. That was the issue.
It did. Well, that's the part that felt forced. It's like they were trying to write it naturally, and it didn't come across. It came across as someone writing it who didn't really understand the real issues, but trying to talk like they did. Yeah, I agree. Comics on my mind. It felt so shoehorned in, and I don't think it's going to have the effect that they think it's going to have. It felt played. It felt too played up by them. It definitely didn't feel in place in the aesthetic of the rest of the episode. All the racial things they brought up in the first episode felt natural, felt real. This one didn't feel natural. This one felt forced by Marvel into the script. And all the other racial elements they brought up in this episode all felt natural except for that one. Especially when they were talking to the old guy, and he'd been locked away for 30 years. You could tell Bucky had a respect for him, and that was back when Bucky was, back in World War II. What did he say? It was like 50, no, not World, but back in 51 where they were fighting Hydra. Yeah. So this was a little bit later than the war. So Bucky's got that history with him. The guy still doesn't have a lot of respect for Bucky. He's got some. I think that's why he allowed Bucky in. He wanted to see where Bucky was at, if he was the same person or had advanced in any way. And then you get the therapy session after Bucky gets arrested. And I thought the woman playing the therapist, I think is great. I love her sarcasm as the therapist, and I love how she calls them on their bullshit. And especially when she's like, a staring contest. What a shocker. There's always a staring contest with you guys. And the couples therapy comment was great, especially when you saw the reaction on Sam and Bucky's face. And then they had to do the staring contest, get closer and closer. And Sam's line killed me. Yeah, it's very close. That's what you wanted, right? You could just see Sam and Bucky going at each other like they do, and it's the same kind of chemistry that worked in the Winter Soldier with those two. They got the magic, and it's great casting. But what do you think of the therapy session?
Oh, that scene was hilarious with them staring at each other. I like that Bucky opened up to Sam. I wish Sam would have opened up a little more to Bucky, because I think like we know why he didn't want to take the mantle as Cap, but there's much more to why he didn't do it. And I wish they would have.
And I think that will come up in a later episode. I think that was supposed to be the revelation of Bucky's trauma, where he feels if Cap was wrong about Sam, then he was wrong about his worth too. And I think that's what Bucky, I think the whole purpose of that scene was to get that out of Bucky, that he's not feeling the worth he was feeling after Sam gave up the shield. It's not so much about Sam, it's about him feeling worthy. Yeah. Him and Sam will get there. They're both a work in progress after Cap. And Sam's going to speak to him more about it. I think they left that scene the way they needed to. Exactly, comics on my mind. There's still trust being built there. And I think Sam left that knowing it's not really about him. It's about how Bucky's feeling worthy or not worthy. But that's not Sam's responsibility to make Bucky feel worthy. And and Falcon had, Sam had that right. It's not, you got that from his little thing. See outside, then we have to see each other again because it isn't his responsibility to feel worthy. And his line was good enough. Can't you just accept the fact that I did what I thought was right? And Bucky should be able to accept that.
Yeah.
And if you want to get down to it, the shield was given to him because Cap trusted him to make the right decisions. If that's the right decision that Falcon felt was the one to make, that should be something Bucky's able to respect. But a great scene, and then we go back out again, and you have the meeting with them again with Wyatt Russell's character, John Walker. And again, he comes across as trying too hard to be the good guy.
Yeah,
he's still struggling with his role as the new Cap. And, it's like any new position, you see someone struggling too hard. And they got to settle into it. It's got to become natural. What did you think of those two confronting them outside?
Like when he confronted them outside, I felt like that's when I started realizing that it felt like he was starting to become arrogant with everything. I mean, not really that arrogant, but it's like it felt like he was trying too hard at that point to get them on board and everything.
Definitely seemed arrogant when he says, "Make sure you stay out of our way."
Yeah, but that's at the end of the episode. No, that was at that moment.
No, that
right?
was during that scene.
Yeah,
that's when Bucky and Sam said, we don't have to go through the same mandates and red tape that you guys do. We're free agents. We have a little more freedom to operate outside the lines if we need to. And that's when he delivered that line, well, stay out of our way. And just once, and I know that both sets are good guys, but just once, I want to see Sam and Bucky just whoop their asses real quick, just so they know who's better, and then allow them back in.
they need a little team building.
Yes, very typical than stay out of the way. I agree. That was a very you're going to see that line in so many movies. They all have their tripes, and that was definitely one of them. But man, I just want to see Sam and Bucky whoop both their asses real quick, and then have them make up, and then go fight the bad guys together. And then, of course, we get to the Flag Smashers running. They're trying to escape. They're scared. They're on the run. They're all super soldiers. We still haven't learned yet, and now we get our first clue why they are super soldiers. And part of our show here is the person who's not involved in the comics, their viewpoint. So I want to see if you caught this. As a comics nerd, I caught it. But the guy, when they were leaving, said, yeah, we have to leave now. It's the power brokers. And in the comics, the power brokers is a group, and it's been a guy, then another guy, then a group that gives people superhuman abilities, and then takes a high percentage, like 70% or more, of their percentage of whatever they get in their life as they're out there making money. They take a high percentage of that, and then there's more to that. They feed them these drugs that make them feel like it's helping them, but it's not. It's making them more indebted to the power brokers. So I think these people align themselves with the power brokers, and now they're trying to break free, and it's not really working out. Power brokers want what they're owed from them. And, oh, good. Azor's caught it. Nice. I'm glad I wasn't the only one, buddy. And so you have the dichotomy. You have two different sets of bad guys now. You have two different sets of good guys. All of them are fighting against each other, and themselves, and then they also have to fight against each other. So you got like four different sideways battles going on. And then you have Bucky and Sam just coming to the realization that they're going to need something else. That something else ends with the great cliffhanger of Baron Zemo. So Daniel Bruhl back in the action again. And what did you think of the reveal?
See, I didn't catch all that. You know me, I don't know much about like the comics and everything. So when I see it, I'm like, okay, I'll just have to wait till the next episode to figure out everything.
Yeah, because I'm sure as a non-comics guy and just a fan of the movies and shows, I'm sure you didn't catch the Power Brokers thing.
No, I didn't.
What about Baron Zemo? Because you saw him in Winter Soldier 2.
Yeah,
That was a guy in the cell at the end.
yeah, I didn't catch that.
I mean, okay, I mean not Winter Soldier 2. Yeah, that last scene was great. Comics on my mind. Baron Zemo was in Civil War. He was the guy that Black Panther talked to at the end.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah, the
The one
real
that orchestrated everything in the movie. Yeah.
exactly. I agree with Azor's Tiger here. So the reveal of Baron Zemo was great, especially with him sitting there and he's lifting up his head like he knows something's about to happen that's gonna change for him. And they showed it a bit in the teaser with him putting on his purple mask, and I can't wait to see him go full mask because once he's helping and Bucky and Sam that he's going to be on his own at some point because he's got a much bigger story arc to get to for himself. And I just really thought that worked out well. So we pretty much discussed the whole episode. So as a complete episode, what's your rating and why? Give it a 1 to 5.
Well, I'll give the episode a 4.8. I love the whole entire episode. It was great. Like I said, that one scene I deducted to a little over, just a little points for it. But to me, it was a perfect episode. I really liked everything about this episode. It was a great build up for that previous episode.
It really was. I'm gonna give it the same. I'll give it a 4.8. Same point as you. That one scene felt out of place to me and kind of bothered me. It felt like Marvel was trying too hard, and it didn't ring true like all the other scenes that had the racial tension in it before. All rang true. That one didn't. It just felt like too much of a knee-jerk reaction by Marvel, and let's throw this in there. Other than that, I thought it was a great episode. I really like the conversations between, again, the strength of the episode is the conversations between Bucky. What's that?
No, what he wrote, what he said to brainwash the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
I was still trying to think of who y'all were talking about.
But I just thought a great episode. I'm ready for Agent 13 to get in this too. I'm really curious what role she's going to play. I'm hoping that she gets introduced next episode. That way we get to see her at least a couple episodes. And I think we might, because who knows, it might be a condition of Baron Zemo's release that she has to accompany them. That's going to be my guess. And Zemo's going to get free. He's far too intelligent to not break free. And I'm gonna hope that they're gonna put Battlestar in a costume at some point too, like they did like he had in the comics. All of them together got to be one team by the end of this. They got to be fighting the Power Brokers. They got to be fighting the Flag Smashers. They may even be fighting Baron Zemo. But you got so many pieces in play here that I think the rest of this series is going to be at a breakneck pace because in these first 2 episodes, there is so much set up and so much to digest that they're going to have to move at a really fast clip, I think, and just keep the pace going. And I think that's where this show is strongest. Is the pacing on this show is fantastic. These episodes don't feel as long as they are. You're watching, you're completely involved with the characters, and then it's over, and you're like, what? I want more.
Pretty much.
But I mean, it left you with the same feeling too, right? You're ready for next week already.
I was very disappointed when it ended. I wanted more.
I at least wanted them to talk to Zemo. Well, they just left on the reveal of the face. But overall, a fantastic episode. Definitely looking forward to next week. I thought it was an improvement over episode 1, and I thought episode 1 was a really strong episode. So I was worried about the follow-up. The follow-up was fantastic. Hopefully we'll see more of Sam's sister in it here and there too. I believe that's right, Azor. So that's why I think it's got to be a faster pace. It is only 6 episodes, I believe.
Really 6?
Yeah, I got to look it up. I thought I heard 6. I
They
wish
better
it
get
was
to
9
stepping.
like WandaVision was. That would be better. Well, I can't say it would be better because the pacing's great on this. If they can tell their story in 6 episodes and it's tight and it works and it leaves you where they want you to leave you, then I'm okay with it. I'd rather things not get dragged out if there's no reason to. If it's 6 and they tell this and they keep the storytelling this tight and the interactions this tight, I'm 100% on board with it.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't start straying away from the story.
I doubt that. And the only down part I would see is with 6 episodes, you just get less of Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan together.
Yeah, because they
Because
got to show
man,
everybody else.
I can't wait till they're back in the big movies on MCU because those two are just. I know I said it about Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen, but that's what Marvel does best is this casting. They cast these people together that interact so well together. And I think they probably struck lightning once with Sam and Bucky. I don't think they realized that how well these two guys were gonna be together until they got them on screen together. And they're smart. They saw they had magic there and they went further with it. I agree. Episode 1 was good, but 2 was next level. Absolutely, Seth.
I agree.
Absolutely. And I think 3 is just going to go even further. I can't wait to hear what Zemo's plan is, and I can't wait to hear Bucky and Sam arguing while they're trying to get information out of Zemo. Every time Sam and Bucky are arguing, I'm having the best time ever watching them. Because neither one of them is going to let harm come to the other. But they're like that cranky old odd couple, man. They just can't not argue with each other.
That old married couple.
Yes, like Tango and Cash. That is a great comparison, Azores. And Azores, we were talking about it earlier. I don't know if all of you guys realize it in the chat, but the guy playing John Walker is actually Kurt Russell's son, seeing you bringing up Tango and Cash. Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's son, Wyatt Russell. And what we were talking about is how he's playing such a different character from the military hard ass and kind of evil guy he was in Overlord, which was a great military horror movie. But that's all I got, though. I thought it was fantastic. It seems like the chat today was right on par with our thoughts and feelings. They thought that one scene was a little out of place. They thought everything else was fantastic, just like us. Hey, nothing's ever going to be 100% great. There's swings, there's misses, and everything you watch. And my homegirl told me that's hilarious. Let's see. He's playing the character good because I already can't stand it. Oh, exactly.
Riggs and Murtaugh. That's a perfect comparison, Riggs and Murtaugh.
Yeah, but you're going to have to reverse the lines, right? It's going to have to. Sam would have to be the crazy one, and Bucky is all he is going to have to be the "I'm too old for this shit" line guy. Because Sam's got to be a little crazy to fly like he flies. He's a magician. He's a magician in the air. I truly didn't think the show would be good, just some filler, but it's been really enjoyable, and I look forward to it. With Marvel, I didn't expect it to be filler. Marvel's at the point now, they've built up the trust over the last what is it now? Almost 20 years of the MCU, where you're going to get a coherent product that ties in tightly with the rest of the universe. Hey, how you doing, Jason? Oh, we were just wrapping up, buddy. We were discussing Falcon and Winter Soldier too. It was a great discussion. But that's it. Mike and I both gave it a 4.8 out of 5. We both loved it. Great discussion. We've gone for 40 minutes, Mike. And what? I'm getting my CGC here. Yeah, I'm too old for this shit. When Bucky fell out of the plane. Oh, yes, exactly. Thank you, Slot. But we're going to be here again next Sunday. As usual, it's an impromptu show. It's whenever both of us are going to not be working. And Mike and I set it up on the fly. Then we usually go live in a couple hours. And we'll catch you guys next Sunday. Mike, thank you for another great episode and hanging out with me again. It's always a pleasure, buddy.
You inviting me.
And again, everyone in the stream, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're having an awesome time doing this, and we hope you guys are enjoying our insights and you like the dichotomy of the comic nerd against the everyday guy over here.
Who
And
doesn't
until
know
next time,
anything about the
guys,
comics.
right? Until next time, guys,
All
keep it
right, bye.
casual.